Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to Mono to Atmos, and today is another exciting day where we're going to be talking about Matter Sound. And our topic today is Netflix dialogue loudness. What is it? How do you go about it? Because I know there's a lot of confusion out there, but also we are living at a day and age where everything is all about loudness. The days of the loudness wars are gone, and all platforms today have a loudness standard to it. And today we are going to look at the Netflix dialogue loudness standard, because I realize that I've been getting so many people ask me questions about the same, and I thought maybe we could just quickly go through it and see what it's about. So we go quickly to Netflix and just look at their specifications. And today I want us to look at the 2.6, because I know most of us work in stereo, some of us work in 5.1, others work in Dolby Atmos, but for dialogue, it's the same across the board regardless of whatever format it is that you're working on. So if you're working in 5.1, still the same standard. If you're working in stereo, still the same thing. And so we're going to look at this 2.6, okay, this 2.6 here, which says near field 2.0 stereo mix, mastering and archive, dubbed languages and audio description. So they're talking about use 79 dB SPL or 82 dB SPL as your standard reference level for mixing. What is this about? This is basically about your monitoring, the loudness levels of your studio monitors, the system that you're using to monitor. So they're just saying if it's 5.1 or if it's stereo, make sure that you either use 79 dB SPL or you use 82 dB SPL. If you're doing a theatrical mix for cinemas, you could do 85 dB SPL. Now, the other thing that I really want us to concentrate on today is the dialogue loudness, where it says provide a separate. No, let's work with the. So they say provide a separate left only, right only, or left turtle, right turtle mix with minus 27 LKFS plus or minus 2 LU dialogue loudness using the ITU RBS 1770 measured over the entire program. Left only, right only mix is preferred. So the left only, right only, this is when you've done your mix in, let's say, in 5.1. So they expect you to do a left only, right only. We won't get into that today. Or left turtle, right turtle. We also won't get into that today. And but they prefer you give your dialogue as left only, right only. Okay, this is for if they're going to dub this or something. Now the other thing I want us to understand from this is that they're saying do not exceed plus 18 dB or minus 2 dBFS maximum level true peak. So they're also giving you and telling you that don't exceed minus 2 on your digital scale, on your true peak. Okay, so you need to limit it at minus 2. So basically that's what I wanted to look at. So we just need to meet a minus 27 LKFS plus or minus 2. So the plus or minus 2, what does the plus or minus 2 mean? This plus or minus 2 just tells you that if you're mixing your dialogue and it is minus 27, it's going to pass QC. If it is minus 26 or minus 25, that is the plus 2, it's still going to pass QC. Or if it's minus 28 or minus 29, which is the minus 2, it's still going to pass QC. But remember, this is loudness unit, okay? Also the minus 27, remember this is the LKFS, okay? So let's look at something else down here. So the following loudness range over here, the following loudness range LRA values will play best on the service. So these are just best practices for, the online service, which is Netflix. And they're saying 5.1 programming LRA between 4 and 18 dB LU. We'll get into what this is about, but this is about your loudness range for the entire mix when you have your dialogue, music, and effects. And also for stereo, you have LRA between 4 and 18 LUs. So this is how much room your film is given to have dynamics in terms of the most quiet parts and the loudest parts. This is all it's talking about. So they're saying between your quietest parts and your loudest parts, you are allowed, for the people to experience the best programming on their service, then at least have 4 loudness units of dynamic range, and if it's extremely dynamic, have 18 loudness units of dynamic range. Okay, Then we go to now what we need to concentrate on today, because we're talking about dialogue loudness. And this is dialogue loudness range of 10 LU or less. So also what Netflix is saying is this, that we've told you that we need your dialogue to be at minus 27 when measured across the program. But they're also saying, we understand that when you're mixing your dialogue, not all dialogue is consistent, not all dialogue is constant, because you'll have places where people are shouting, you'll have places where people are talking normal, but you also have places where people are whispering. And they're saying, listen, because we understand that your dialogue is dynamic, we will allow you 10 loudness units of dynamic range to play around with your dialogue loudness. Just that after all is said and done, remember to make sure that the entire energy on the entire measurement of your dialogue still meets the minus 27 LKFS standard, okay? So that is all they're trying to say here. And what does this mean in layman's terms? It just tells you that if the normal dialogue level is minus 27 LKFS, if you're to have 10 loudness units as dynamic range, it means from minus 27, you have 5 loudness units above minus 27 and 5 loudness units under minus 27 in terms of playing around with the dynamic range. So it means that your loudest parts, 5 loudness units from minus 27 would be minus 22. Okay, so you can have your loud parts go all the way to minus 22 LKFS or LUFS, and your quiet parts would be minus 27. So you'd have minus 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So your quiet parts would be minus 32 LKFS or LUFS, such that your whispers can be around minus 32, your quiet moments can be around minus 32 in your dialogue, and then your shouts can be at minus 22 LKFS. So I want us to just quickly look at the practicality of how to do this, and we had done some recording, and we're going to use this just to try and achieve a Netflix dialogue loudness standard that would actually pass QC. So here we are on Pro Tools, and this I'm actually just using Pro Tools intro, so at least you can be able to follow, because intro should be free. You can just download Pro Tools intro and follow along. So now I have 2 dialogues over here, and I'm just going to play so that we see that everything is playing well. So from Africa, this is another exciting episode. And in this episode, we have an amazing guest. This guest is just multi-talented, and she's got so many facets to herself. So assuming that this is what you have gotten from your editor, so your editor has done the picture and has given you sound or dialogue. This is your dialogue, and you're a dialogue editor. I just want us to also go through the process of, setting up just some very simple template just that would do us dialogue editing, but it will also help us conform to the Netflix standard. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just to create an auxiliary track. So I'm going to create a stereo auxiliary input, and I'm going to call this DX bus, because I want to actually, what I need to do is just process all my dialogue together. So this is going to help me just process all my dialogue together. Okay, so and then I need a master bus. So I'm gonna create another track, new track. I'm gonna say stereo. I'm gonna say master fader, and I'm just gonna say okay. So let's look at what this is doing, and we have this as our output. So the master of our output needs to go to our output. So I'm gonna have it as my output as I'm using the Focusrite 2i2. So it's gonna go out to output, and then remember here we created our dialogue bus, and we now need to do our routing such that we have our dialogue tracks being routed into the dialogue bus for processing. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to just go into my setup and into my input output. So let me just delete this because I had earlier created it. So what's going on? My computer is hanging. My computer seems to be hanging. Let's just try that again. Everything looks good. So setup, input, output. This happens sometimes. This is pretty strange. Let me see, what do I have on my output? I have that is fine. So it has refused, but let's just, because I think I'm using intro, my buses are depleted. So yeah, let's just use that. So I just needed to go there, create that DX bus on my buses. So I've created the DX. I'll use the DX one that is already created over there. And what I'm gonna do is make sure that the output of my dialogue is, come to my buses and make sure it is DX1 bus stereo. And then this also, I'm gonna have my output go to DX bus 1 stereo. But the DX bus 1 stereo is gonna be my input in my DX bus. So I'm gonna just say DX bus 1 stereo is my input, and then this DX bus is gonna take it to the output. And then I'm gonna have just to push my master up there. So now if I play this episode, and in this episode, we have an amazing guest. This guest is just multi-talented, and we can see that our dialogue is actually playing. So quickly, I just want us to look at how we will process this dialogues based on the specs that we have read on the Netflix site. So the first thing that maybe we need to do is just make sure that we process our dialogue with a low cut, because there's usually very little information in the under 100 hertz in especially dialogue. Very little information lives over there. So we really don't need that information, because that's where rumble lives and just bad energy lives there. So let's just do a quick EQ. I'm gonna use what comes with Pro Tools. So we have that, and then I'm just gonna do a low cut, 24 dB per octave. I'm gonna do 100 hertz. So that is just cutting everything that is under 100 hertz, and then I'm gonna do, so the other thing that I need to do is I need to process my dialogue using a compressor. So how do I compress this dialogue? Because compression is not just to be thrown there and, just compress everything. No, we need to understand that from what we have just read from the spec sheet. Let's just go back there. From our spec sheet, they're saying your dialogue loudness range of 10 LU or less will work best on the service. So for us to have a better experience, or to even have very easy time with QC, we just want to give, meet their recommendation. So what are we going to do? We're going to make sure that the compressor that we're going to have on our bus, the dialogue bus, is going to actually help us attain this loudness range of 10 LU. So what are we going to do? I'm just gonna maximize this, and after my EQ, I'm just gonna have my compressor, and the compressor is gonna say, I'm gonna use just normal dynamic compressor that comes with Pro Tools so that everyone else can follow. I'm gonna click there, and I'm gonna say, I want it at a ratio of 2:1. So let's just reduce this. So 2:1. And then I am going to have my knee to be a bit soft. So I'm going to say about 10 dB. This is just to let my transients be able to pass through. And then I'm going to have my attack. No, that's fine, I think. That's fine. I'm going to just take my release to about 200. And then my threshold. So how do I know where to place my threshold? The secret I have with the compressor is, once I know what I want the compressor to do, I work with that to, let me just show you. So what I'm going to do right now is this. I'm going to solo this, and I'm going to play this and see what is happening to my compressor. And I see nothing is going on my compressor. But before we even work with the compressor, remember, we have a very specific loudness target that we need to achieve. And for that reason, we need to first deal with our master bus, because our loudness plugin will go on our master fader. Okay, so here we are going to have, first we're going to do a limiter, because we need to limit everything at -2. Remember, Netflix expect you to have -2, and they recommend that you have your start limiting at -2.3. But let's just quickly come here and get our limiter. So dynamic, and then we find our limiter here. So what's the difference between a compressor and a limiter? Basically, what a limiter does is, once your ratio exceeds 10, a ratio of 10, it means that you're now limiting, you're no longer compressing. So I'm going to just take my ratio all the way to 100. And this is now a limiter. And then I'm going to take my threshold to -3. And then I am going to have my knee at 0, because we need to hard limit. And then my release is going to go to around just 200. My attack, I'm going to bring this down a bit, let's say 1 millisecond, because now I need to capture those transients. I don't want anything to pass, and I want to be extra safe. I don't want to have issues where the entire work comes back because of a QC fail of a transient that just passed through. So this is our limiter. Now, under our limiter, let's just have our, let's say we might have other things there. So let's just have our loudness meter. So there are multiple loudness meters out there that you can actually look at. And today I want us to look at Youlean, because Youlean is free. I'm going to show you how to get Youlean in a minute. So this is Youlean. It's a pretty interesting loudness meter. Now, the other thing here that so the other thing here that I want us to look at is, so yeah, if you want Youlean, you just go to youlean.com and, .co. Is it youlean.com? So youlean.co, and you should be able to get it. Here it is. And you can also get HOFA. HOFA is usually, where is it? Where is HOFA? It's usually sorry. HOFA plugins. Also here you can download HOFA. HOFA is another one, pretty interesting. They have quite a number of plugins, but yeah, you can get their loudness meter. They have quite a number of plugins, so you can also go to HOFA and download your loudness plugin. Now, remember that again, we are living in at a time where it's all about loudness, and most platforms, or rather all platforms nowadays, have loudness. And just to know what loudness standard you need to be at, you can go to youlean.co and then loudness standards, and you'll find all your loudness standards over here. So you have your, EBU, broadcast EBU R128, and when you click here, it'll give you what the specs are. And so this is the broadcaster that even Showmax and Mnet use, and there's all these others over there. Today, because we're dealing with Netflix, if you click on Netflix, you'll see that we have a max integrated dialogue loudness level of -27 laughs, a maximum true peak of -2 dB. Okay, and then if you also putting your stuff on YouTube, you can come here and you'll see that it tells you your maximum integrated loudness level is -14 laughs. So today we are living at a time where everything needs to meet a certain loudness level. We're no longer just mixing for the sake of just mixing. Okay, we have to meet very specific loudness levels, and you can find this online. So let's quickly go back and look at, we have now set our loudness meter. So what we need to do is come back to our compressor. This is our compressor. Just have it somewhere around here. and start playing our dialogue to see how it behaves with where it measures in the loudness meter and what our compressor will do to ensure that we meet the loudness dynamic, the loudness range of 10 LU. Africa, this is another exciting episode. And in this episode, we have an amazing guest. This guest is just multi-talented and she's got so many facets to herself. She has so many facets to her name. So we can see that our integrated loudness is at minus 35 laughs, okay? And our short term also is minus 35. So let's just try and get this to minus 27. So we'll have to raise this entire dialogue piece. What's up, good people? My name is Lawrence and welcome to Stories from Africa. This is another exciting episode. And in this episode, we have an amazing guest. This guest is just multi-talented and, she's got so many facets. We're already there. We're already at minus 27, but we realize that our compressor has already started doing what we call gain reduction at minus 27. But we don't need our compressor to start working at minus 27. We need our compressor to only start working when our dialogue exceeds, okay, the loudness range that we've been given. So what we're going to do is, because we've been given, what we're going to do is I'm just going to say put the threshold at minus 20. And if I play to this herself, now, she has so many facets to her name. It is even hard for me to begin introducing her. So, hey, Mutava.
What's up?
Is it Mutavi or?
Mutavi.
So yeah, we can see that the compressor is not really doing anything, but we are almost at the ballpark. We are around minus 23. But remember, we have 5 loudness units of dynamic range where the compressor needs to start working. So I would try and figure that out. Let's say just cut there and just try and push this such that I start getting to minus 22. And because you want our compressor to start working at minus 22 to ensure that we do not exceed that for better playback on Netflix, I'm just going to play this. Use this dialogue to try and teach our online audience how to actually look at dialogue and how to mainly look at dialogue loudness relative to Netflix. And you have consented to. So here you see we're at minus 24 and we're already getting some gain reduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my threshold, let's say to minus 18. This and what do you think about talking to people out there about tutorials, about sound and just generally the industry? So let's take that again. So you see, this is just an example because we're supposed to use this dialogue to try and teach our online audience how to actually look at dialogue and how to mainly look at dialogue loudness relative to Netflix. And you have consented to this. And what do you think about? I can see my integrated loudness is about minus 22.9, but my short term sometimes goes to minus 21 and sometimes it's at minus 22, which is pretty fine, and I'm not getting a lot of gain reduction from my compressor, which means this compressor actually. So you see, this is just an example because we're supposed to use this dialogue to try and teach our. Yeah, so it means pretty much our compressor should be able to do the work for us as it is. And we can always refine it later. So now let's just get back to working on the dialogue to make sure that it meets the minus 27 LKFS. So all this I was just doing to make sure that our compressor is working right, and also we can have a look at our limiter to make sure that we are not getting any peaks. Audience, how to actually look at dialogue and how to mainly look at dialogue loudness relative to Netflix. And you have consented to this. And what do you think about talking to people out there about tutorials, about sound and just generally the industry? Yeah, so also our limiter seems to be working fine. So let's just bring this back to minus 7.8. where everything else is. So I also need to check this other dialogue and make sure that it's around the ballpark of, our loudness of minus 27. I'm just going to raise everything for starters.
What I mean when I say that I'm a creative artist, I mean that I do several things in terms of art forms. This means that I am a musician, I am a crocheter, I am a hairstylist, I am a poet.
So you're also almost all same level. You see, we are at around minus 26.8. Remember, you have plus or minus 2. Okay, and you also have a dynamic range of 5 loudness units, so this is pretty safe. So let's just go through this dialogue really fast and see what we can do so that it actually sounds good. Remember, when you have dialogue from multiple microphones, then it's very easy for you to start getting what you call phasing. So ideally, what you need to start doing when you get into a scenario where you have multiple microphones, is you want to make sure that you try as much as possible and cut out where the other microphone is silent and it's speaking that signal. So for instance, this is my first microphone, and if I play
What's
this,
up,
good people, my name is Lawrence, and you can tell that it's very clear, but you see this is sipping. Hey, what's up, good people? My name is Lawrence, and welcome to Stories from Africa. This is sipping into the other microphone, and it will not sound very crisp and very good if we have both sounds at the same time. So what you're going to do is we're going to get rid of the signals that we really don't need. So for instance here, let's just play. So, hey, mutabe mutaba.
What's up?
Yeah, so here she talks. So, hey, mutabe mutaba. So here she talks. Mutabe. So I can just kill that and just mute it. And then come here. Hey, mutabe. Where she giggles. Mutabe mutaba.
What's up?
So again, just cut that, mute that. And then I can just bring this in, and always do fades to avoid clicks when you cut stuff out. Tabe mutaba. Tabe mutaba. What just happened? Hey, mutabe. I'm getting my shortcuts wrong. So yeah, this should be it. Hey, this is the giggle, so we just do that really fast. And we listen to it. So this is almost the realm of now dialogue mixing. Hey,
What's up?
is it mutabe mutabe? Then again here we are going to just cut that. Is it mutabe mutabe?
Mutabe mutavi.
And then
Mutabe mutavi.
again cut that out and just mute that. Oh shoot, what am I doing? Mixed my shortcuts. This whole thing of moving from PC and Macs is just crazy, and working with multiple softwares can be crazy because you start mixing your shortcuts. So this is a quick way to just edit. Now I'm editing
What's up?
the dialogue.
Mutabe mutavi.
I'm not even considering loudness yet. I'm just looking at places where there is crosstalk, and I'm trying to minimize crosstalk. Okay, to avoid phasing. Crazy name, but anyway, welcome to the studios, and maybe start by telling us your name, what you do, and where you're from. So we're gonna mute that, and then we are just gonna come back here and do a quick crossfade. You can do this on
Mutabe mutavi.
you can do this on any of your softwares. Just it's just the idea that matters. Okay, so let's see what is going on here.
Well. Yeah, just like you've heard, my name is Mutave Mutavi. I am a creative artist, and I come from Machakos County.
So so here we won't do cleaning today. Today we'll just do this whole trying to make sure we meet
Coast County.
Netflix dialogue loudness. So, if I may ask, what do you really do? Because you seem to be multifaceted in terms of your craftsmanship. You seem to be all over the place. Could you just quickly tell our listeners what really you do?
Oh,
So I'm gonna just cut that and mute this whole thing because that's the other microphone.
what I mean when I say that I'm a creative artist, I mean that I do several things in terms of art forms. This means that I am a musician, I am a crocheter, I am a hairstylist, I am a poet. And also, what else do I do? Remind me. Anyway, yeah, a couple of things, yeah.
So again, here we're gonna have crosstalk. So I'm just gonna mute this. I'm gonna cut that out and mute it so that when I bring the other microphone, we don't have phasing issues. We don't have to deal with a lot. So let me just quickly bring this in and just, come on. Yeah, so here we have Mutave's dialogue that finished just working on, where she's not, she's where there's crosstalk, so I've muted that. And now I can quickly just look at her loudness. So when she's talking normally, we might want it to be at minus 27. So,
What's up?
so we can just quickly raise this a bit, just raise them a bit.
What's up? Mutavi.
So this also we can raise it such that our short term tries to at least get to minus 27.
Mutavi.
Just push it up a bit.
Mutavi.
Yeah, so our integrated is at minus 27 at least over there. And then we can just come here and see.
Well. Yeah, just like you've heard, my name is Mutavi. I am a creative artist and I come from Machakos County.
Yeah, so let's look at this.
Well. Yeah, just like you've heard, my name is Mutavi. I am a creative artist and I come.
So we're going to lower it a bit.
Well. Yeah, just like you've heard, my name is Mutavi. I am a creative artist and I come from Machakos County.
So yeah, you can see there's parts that are loud where she projects her voice. We don't have to just kill that part. We let it be. We let it breathe. We let the dialogue try to be as natural as possible, such that her dynamics can be felt. When she speaks loud, we want it to be loud, and as she goes quiet, we want it to be quiet. But we're still trying to maintain the minus 27 integrated, loudness. So that is the whole point of mixing dialogue in this manner. So let's just have a look at, so this looks like it's done. Let's see if.
I think it's important that.
So again, this is slightly lower. We could just raise it up a bit.
I think it's important that.
So yeah, you're about minus 28, which is not so bad. You're still around the spec. So let's come to the male voice and just have a look at it. Hey, what's up, good people? My name is Lawrence and welcome to Stories from Africa. This is another exciting episode. And in this episode, we have an amazing guest. This guest is just multi-talented and, she's got so many facets to herself. She has so many facets to her name. It is even hard for me to begin introducing her. So, hey, Mutave Mutava.
What's up?
Is it Mutave Mutavi or?
Mutavi.
So again, we have to do the same thing that we did on her voice, where we come in and just cut out all her voices from this other microphone so that we don't have phasing. We can just quickly do that. And just mute them. Okay, yeah. And just remember to have your fades. Again, just cut that out, mute it. Yeah, introduce my fades to avoid clicks that come because of cutting waveforms. Okay. And I'm gonna cut these two here. So I'm using B to cut, I'm using R to zoom out, T to zoom in. But I'm sure you can get shortcuts online. And then, so here we also need to cut this out. It's quite some work. So dialogue editing is quite some work because you have to do this through all the dialogue that you have, One day we'll go through how to do now proper film dialogue when you have multiple dialogues, when you have lapels. But this is basically the process. You go through the dialogue, finding what is right and just fixing them, bit by bit. There's many ways of doing this. Other people do it differently. I prefer doing it like this and just moving step by step. So now let's just listen to what we have and check our loudness meter. Hey, what's up, good people? My name is Lawrence and welcome to Stories from Africa. This is another exciting episode. And in this episode, we have an amazing guest. This guest is just multi-talented and, she's got so many facets to herself. She has so many facets to her name. It is even hard for me to begin introducing her. So, hey, Mutave Mutava. Is it Mutave Mutavio? So I just had a problem over there. We have a quiet place here. Crazy name, but what just happened? Oh, so we need to have that on also. So let me just solo all this. So let's hey, Mutave Mutava.
What's up?
Is it Mutave Mutavio?
Mutave Mutavi.
Crazy name, but anyway, welcome to the studios and maybe start by telling us your name, what you do and where you're from.
Well. Just like you've heard, my name is Mutave Mutavi. I am a creative artist and I come from Machakos County.
So, if I may ask, what do you really do? Because you seem to be multifaceted in terms of your craftsmanship. You seem to be all over the place. Could you just quickly tell our listeners what really you do?
What I mean when I say that I'm a creative artist, I mean that I do several things in terms of art forms. This means that I am a musician, I am a crocheter, I am a hairstylist, I am a poet, and also, what else do I do? Remind me. Anyway, a couple of things,
So you see, this is just an example because we're supposed to use this dialogue to try and teach our online audience how to actually look at dialogue and, how to mainly look at dialogue loudness relative to Netflix. And you have consented to this. And what do you think about talking to people out there about tutorials, about sound and just generally the industry?
I think it's important that...
So just by what we have done, we can see that our integrated loudness, by the rough mix that we have done, is at minus 27.1 LUFS. Okay, our short term is saying it's minus 29 LUFS. Our loudness range is at 5.2. Okay, so by the little things that we have done, we are just within spec. Remember, our spec that we were supposed to meet was for Netflix. Use case online streaming, max integrated dialogue should be minus 27 LUFS, max true peak is minus 2 dB. And then if we were to look at what was expected of us here, you realize that dialogue loudness range of 10 LU or less is fine. Here it's telling us that our loudness range is 5.2 LU, which is pretty brilliant. We're within spec. So this is just in a nutshell how to make sure you work around your dialogue and it complies to Netflix standards. Again, maybe we could look at the cleaning process. We will do that in another video today. I just wanted us to look at how to do loudness mixing for dialogue that needs to go to Netflix and how to meet those standards. Until next time, see you. Cheers.